Hello and welcome to my part of the world once again. What to talk about today? Well, I wanted to have another look at these wonderful things called chords, CAGED system once again, and how do we kind of get them flowing between each other. Now you may have heard me say, well, there's C, A, G, E, D, and we can just move them up and do the similar things with E minor, A minor, D minor. Okay, well, let's have a look at all the C chords on the guitar. Okay, so we start off nice and simple. And before we do start, I'll quickly mention, yes, I do look like a Jewish rabbi. I hear it all the time, but I don't care. Right, C chord. Hopefully you know how to play it. First finger on the first fret of the second string. Yeah? And then we're on the second fret on the fourth string with our second finger, funnily enough. And then the third fret on the fifth string with our third finger. Might be slightly out of tune, but it will do for rock and roll. Okay, so the way that the CAGED system works basically means that it goes in exactly that same order: C, A, G, E, D. Now, have a look. Here's a C chord. You'll notice C shape. Yes, C shape. Right, where that third finger is, bar across. So it's at the third fret, then do an A shape. It's beautiful and simple. Okay, now where we get these three fingers in a row at that fifth fret, bar across, then do a G shape. Remember there's a space here. Now where you get your third and fourth finger, bar across, do an E shape, C-A-G-E. Where your little finger is, yeah, bar across there, do a D shape. Okay, so I've just done C-A-G-E-D shape, but they were all a C chord. C, then we had an A shape, move it up 3 frets. There's another C. Get G shape. Well, unfortunately you have to move that up 5 frets. E shape, you have to move it up 8 frets. So E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. And then lo and behold, D, you're going to have to move up 10 frets. 10th fret. Ooh. Really out at the top. Okay. Old strings. Okay, so the next set of chords I want to have a look at, bearing in mind that I get very enthusiastic about this thing called the circle of fourths. I love it. I love it. It's a great randomised but ordered way, if there is such a thing, of trying to practice all the chords. So I do F. Right. F is just basically an E shape moved up 1 fret, so that's F. Okay, well it's an E shape, so the next one must be a D shape. Yeah, where your little finger is, do a D shape. Okay, now where these two fingers are, on that 5th fret, bar across, and it's a C shape. Yeah, where the little finger is, because it's a C shape, goes to an A shape, so bar across the 8th fret, we've got an A shape. Now at the 10th fret, where these 3 fingers are, we've got G shape. Or the full thing. Remember, with chords you don't have to do the entire thing. Say for example we had an F. If you wanted to, you could just do the bottom 2 strings. Sounds like a power chord, mainly because it's got 1 and 5. You might want to do the bottom 3 strings. That's F, C, F. Still a power chord, but it has that higher F in it. If you wanted to, you could just do the 5th, 4th and 3rd string. Then you get things like, what was it? You know, things like Disco 2000, I think it is. Anyway, what do I know? I'm just an old fart, apparently, according to most of my students. Even though I've hit over the age of 30, I'm an old fart. I haven't even hit 40. Bastards. Arrgh. Anyway, so that's F. So suddenly we've got F, 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 and then we're back to the beginning. Do the same with B flat, which is the next one in the circle of fourths. So A, move it up one, B flat, which is also the same as A sharp. Yeah, getting it? A, move it up one fret. B flat is the same as A sharp. A, move it up one. So that's an A shape. The next one would be a G shape. C, A, G. So the next one must be an, what's that? Pun? E shape? Yes. Where the little finger is, a D for Davros. Yes, a D for Davros shape. Yeah. Where these two fingers are, bar across, we get a C shape. It's all rather technical, this, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, you can work this stuff out using a piano and just basically circle of fourths. I'll keep going on about it in most of my videos, but you can learn so much just from those two things alone. Circle of fourths or fifths and a piano layout. Your guitar is essentially 6 piano layouts. You know, it's bonkers. It's so simple to try and learn this stuff. It really is. Anyway, we've done B flat. The next one will be an E flat, which is, if you look at a piano, the same as D sharp. Okay, so what's known as an enharmonic equivalent when you get D sharp and E flat. They sound the same, but the name gives it a different purpose. In the key of B, it's a D sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp. But if we were in the key of, I don't know, B flat, then you'd have B flat, C, D, E flat. Because you can't have a D and a D sharp. You've got to have some way of, you know, making sure that they're the same sound but not the same note. Does that make sense? You know, we're doing the key of, you know, key of D. You can't have D, E, F and then, you know, sorry, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, D flat and then D. You've got to have C sharp there. You know, it's just a way of this to help us with regards reading. Anyway, we've got this D. We're going to move it up one to make it an E flat, and you notice it's a D shape. Must mean the next one is a C shape. Yep, where the two fingers are, bar across. And there's your C shape. Where your little finger is, there's your A shape. Where the 3 in a row are, there's your G shape. Where these two are, it's an E shape. Then up here, back to a D shape. You know? Sorry if it's a little louder tune. I'll get to it as and when I can. Right, A flat, nice and simple. It's the same. It's a G sharp. A flat, G sharp. So there's a G chord. Notice I'm not using my first finger. I'm going to move it up. It's not that hard. Move it up. 1 fret. G sharp. Next one's going to be an E shape. Next one's going to be a D shape. Next one's going to be a C shape. And an A shape. Then we're back to the beginning. Okay. Now, just to prove this all works, you ready for it? Right. I'm going to start right from the very beginning. Okay. C. F. B flat. E flat. A flat. D flat. F sharp. B, E, A, D, and then G. Okay, that was the entire circle of fourths using major chords. Okay, now give it a go. Get a metronome and try and see if you can do it in a set time, you know, or set tempo, I should say. Tempo. Anyway, so maybe picking out something like 60 BPM and trying it on every other click. So you got, you know, click, 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 click. Okay, use the piano and the shape layout and you can hopefully find all the chords. It's not that hard. If you can't do it, well, you're not putting enough brain power into it. It doesn't take that much. That will check out my earlier vids on, you know, how the on the original CAGED system. Really quite useful. Anyway, for today, what, Sunday? Yeah, day of rest apparently. Well, I'm going to sign off. Have a good one. Safe journeys.